Right now, there's a faster way to change your life than you've ever been taught. Not through years of struggle, not through waiting for perfect conditions, but through a simple shift you can make in this very moment. The truth is, your life is being shaped right now by what you focus on, how you feel, and the choices you make when no one is watching. Most people believe change takes time. But the moment you change your inner world, your outer world responds. When you understand the formula behind instant improvement, you stop feeling powerless and start feeling in control. You realize that progress isn't something you wait for, it's something you create. This is about taking back authority over your emotions, your decisions, and your direction. Because when you learn how to shift your focus, control your state, change the meaning you give things, and act decisively, everything begins to move. Not someday. Not later now. What you're about to hear isn't theory. It's something you can use immediately. And if you apply it even once, your life will start to change starting now. If you want to improve your life instantly, you don't need more time, more money, or more information. You need to change what you're focusing on. Right now, at this very moment, your emotional state is being shaped by where your attention is going. Focus is power. Whatever you consistently focus on, you feel. And whatever you feel, you act on. That's the chain that runs your life. Most people focus on what's wrong, what they're missing. What didn't work? Who disappointed them? And then they wonder why they feel drained, frustrated, or stuck. It's not because their life is broken. It's because their focus is. The human brain is designed to find what you ask it to look for. If you search for problems, you'll find them everywhere. If you search for opportunities, they start showing up just as fast. The moment you shift focus, your emotional state changes immediately. Think about it. You can recall a painful memory and feel your body tighten in seconds. Or you can recall a moment of strength, love, or victory and feel energy surge through you just as fast. The external world didn't change, your focus did. That's how fast transformation can happen. This doesn't mean you ignore reality. It means you choose where to place your attention within it. You can't control everything that happens, but you can control what you dwell on. And what you dwell on determines whether you feel empowered or defeated. Focus on what you can't change, and you feel helpless. Focus on what you can influence, and you feel alive. Here's the formula. Focus leads to emotion. Emotion leads to action. Action leads to results. Change the first link, and the entire chain shifts. That's why the fastest way to change your life is not through force, but through direction. You don't need to fight negative thoughts. You need to redirect them. Ask better questions and your focus changes instantly. Instead of asking, why does this always happen to me? Ask, what can I learn from this? Instead of asking, what if I fail? Ask, what's one step I can take right now? Questions shape focus. Focus shapes feelings. Feelings shape destiny. When you train yourself to focus on solutions, strengths, and possibilities, your nervous system responds with energy instead of fear. You stand differently. You speak differently. You make decisions faster. Confidence is not something you wait for, it's something you generate through focus. Your life does not change when circumstances change. It changes when your focus does. Right now, you can choose to focus on what's empowering instead of what's exhausting. And the moment you make that choice, you don't just feel different, you become different. Your life is shaped less by what happens to you and more by the state you're in when it happens. State is the combination of your physiology, your focus, and the meaning you're giving things in the moment. Change your state and you change your results immediately. This is why two people can face the same challenge and walk away with completely different outcomes. One is energized, resourceful, and decisive. The other is overwhelmed and frozen. The difference is not intelligence or luck, it's state. Your body is not just something you carry around, it's a switch. The way you breathe, the way you stand, the tension in your muscles, the energy in your movement all send powerful signals to your brain. Slouched posture tells your nervous system you're defeated. Shallow breathing tells it you're under threat. But when you change your body, you change your chemistry. Stand tall, breathe deeply, move with purpose, and your brain receives a different message. You are strong, capable, and in control. Most people wait for motivation to show up before they take action. That's backwards. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. When you move your body with intensity, even when you don't feel like it, your emotional state begins to shift. Energy creates energy. Momentum creates confidence. You don't think your way into a better state, you move your way into it. Language is another part of state most people ignore. The words you use internally shape how you feel. Saying, I can't, produces a completely different state than saying, I'll find a way. One shuts you down. The other opens your mind. Change your language and you change your emotional response. This happens instantly, whether you're aware of it or not. Your state determines the quality of your decisions. When you're tired, frustrated, or fearful, you make short-term choices that cost you long-term results. When you're energized and focused, you make decisions aligned with growth. Same person, same situation, different state, different life. Here's the truth: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your state. In moments of pressure, you don't do what's ideal, you do what's familiar. That's why mastering your state is one of the fastest ways to improve your life. You don't need to wait for perfect conditions. You need to learn how to shift your state on command. The moment you take control of your body, your breath, and your inner dialogue, you take control of your life. Results don't come from thinking harder, they come from showing up differently. Change your state and your world responds instantly. Nothing in your life has meaning until you give it one. Events are neutral, circumstances are neutral. What gives them power is the story you attach to them. That story shapes how you feel, how you act, and ultimately how you live. Change the meaning and you change your life, often in an instant. Two people can go through the same experience and come out completely different. One becomes bitter. The other becomes stronger. One shuts down. The other rises up. The difference isn't what happened. It's what they decided it meant. Meaning is the hidden switch that controls your emotional state. When you change that switch, everything else responds. Most people don't realize they are constantly assigning meanings on autopilot. When something goes wrong, they label it as failure. When someone disagrees, they label it as rejection. When progress is slow, they label it as proof that they're not good enough. These meanings feel real, but they are choices. And unconscious choices create unconscious lives. Here's the truth. Nothing means anything except the meaning you give it. A setback can mean you're incapable, or it can mean you're learning. Pain can mean you're broken, or it can mean you're growing. A challenge can mean stop, or it can mean step up. The event stays the same. The meaning changes everything. Your brain is always asking one question: what does this mean? And once it answers that question, your body reacts immediately. If the meaning is negative, your energy drops, your focus narrows, fear takes over. If the meaning is empowering, your physiology changes. You feel stronger, more resourceful, more alive. This shift happens instantly. This is why reframing is so powerful. When you consciously choose a better meaning, you interrupt old emotional patterns. You stop reacting and start leading. Instead of saying, this is happening to me, you say, this is happening for me. And that single shift opens up possibilities you couldn't see before. Meaning doesn't change the past, but it absolutely changes the future. When you redefine your experiences, you free yourself from being controlled by them. You stop dragging old interpretations into new moments. You reclaim your power. Ask yourself better questions and you'll get better meanings. Instead of, why is this so hard? Ask, how is this shaping me? Instead of, why did this fail? Ask, what is this preparing me for? Questions direct meaning, meaning directs emotion, emotion directs action. The moment you stop seeing problems as threats and start seeing them as feedback, your life accelerates. You stop resisting challenges and start using them. You don't need everything to go your way. You need everything to make you stronger. When you master meaning, nothing can trap you. No situation can define you. No setback can break you, because you control the story. And the moment you change the story, you change how you show up. That's not positive thinking, that's power. Most people think their life will change someday when things line up, when motivation appears, or when they finally feel ready. But real change doesn't come from waiting, it comes from a decision. A clear, committed decision followed by immediate action. Small decisions, when acted on right away, create momentum that can break patterns you've been stuck in for years. Momentum is more powerful than motivation. Motivation fades, but momentum feeds on itself. The moment you decide and act, no matter how small the action, you send a message to your nervous system that you are in control. That shift changes how you feel instantly. Confidence doesn't come from thinking about change. It comes from moving. People underestimate the power of small actions because they're looking for dramatic breakthroughs. But the truth is, massive transformation often begins with something simple. making a phone call you've been avoiding, writing down one clear goal, taking a 10-minute walk, saying no where you used to say yes. These actions may seem insignificant, but they disrupt old patterns. And disruption is the beginning of change. Every time you hesitate, you strengthen the habit of hesitation. Every time you act, you strengthen the habit of action. Small decisions are like votes. Cast enough of them in the same direction, and they redefine who you believe you are. That's how momentum builds, not through intensity once, but through consistency over time. Immediate action is critical because it prevents overthinking. Overthinking kills momentum. The longer you wait, the louder fear becomes. Action quiets fear. When you move, even imperfectly, your brain receives evidence that you are capable. That evidence changes your identity faster than any affirmation ever could. Progress creates energy. Energy creates clarity. Clarity creates better decisions. And better decisions create better results. This is why taking one step forward often leads to the next step becoming obvious. You don't need the whole plan. You need the first move. Small actions also lower resistance. Your mind resists big, vague goals, but cooperates with small, specific tasks. Instead of saying, I need to change my life, say, what's one thing I can do in the next 5 minutes? That question shifts you from overwhelm to power, from dreaming to doing. The difference between people who change and people who stay stuck is not intelligence or talent. It's speed of decision followed by speed of action. Those who move quickly build confidence quickly. Those who wait build doubt. When you commit to small actions daily, you create unstoppable momentum. Patterns that once controlled you lose their grip. The identity of someone who starts things replaces the identity of someone who delays. And from that place, improvement starts feeling hard. It starts feeling natural. One decision, one action, one moment of courage. That's all it takes to begin changing your life. And once momentum starts, it doesn't just move you forward, it carries you. Instant change feels powerful, but lasting change is what truly transforms a life. What you do once can shift your state, but what you repeat becomes who you are. Consistency is the bridge between a moment of motivation and a lifetime of results. When you repeat empowered choices, you are not just changing your behavior, you are reshaping your identity. Your nervous system learns through repetition. Every time you focus intentionally, manage your state, choose empowering meaning, and take action, you reinforce a new pattern. At first, it feels conscious and effortful, but over time, it becomes automatic. This is how habits are formed, and habits are simply identities in action. You don't wake up one day suddenly confident. You practice confidence until it becomes familiar. Most people fail to change because they rely on intensity instead of consistency. They make a big decision, feel inspired for a few days, and then return to old patterns. Not because they're weak, but because the new behavior wasn't repeated enough to become part of who they are. Identity doesn't change through intention alone. It changes through evidence. And evidence is created by consistent action. Each time you keep a promise to yourself, no matter how small, you strengthen self-trust. That trust compounds. You begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who takes control, someone who doesn't quit when things get uncomfortable. This shift in self-image is powerful because it affects every area of your life. When you believe you're capable, you act like it. And when you act like it, results follow. Consistency doesn't mean perfection. It means commitment. There will be days when you miss a step, lose focus, or fall back into old habits. That doesn't erase progress. What matters is returning quickly to the pattern you're building. The faster you reset, the stronger the identity becomes. Progress is not linear, but it is cumulative. Repetition also conditions your emotional responses. What once felt difficult becomes normal. What once required discipline becomes preference. This is how transformation sticks. You stop forcing change and start living it. Your environment, relationships, and goals begin to align with the person you've become. Over time, instant improvements stop feeling temporary. They become your baseline. Higher energy becomes normal. Clear decisions become normal. Taking action becomes normal. This is not luck, it's conditioning. The ultimate goal is not to improve your life for a moment, it's to upgrade who you are. When empowered choices become consistent, they become identity, and when identity shifts, life follows automatically. You don't chase change anymore, you embody it. Consistency turns a simple formula into a way of life. And when that happens, improvement is no longer something you try to do, it's simply who you are. At the end of the day, improving your life isn't about complexity, it's about control. Control over what you focus on, control over the state you live in, control over the meaning you give every experience, and control over the decisions you make in the moment. When you take ownership of these, you stop reacting to life and start directing it. Instant change is real, but only if you claim it. One shift in focus, one change in posture, one better question, one decisive action. These small moments, repeated consistently, reshape who you are. And once your identity changes, improvement is no longer something you chase. It becomes automatic. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. You don't need to wait for confidence to arrive. The power to improve your life has always been in your hands. Use it, decide, act, repeat. Because the moment you do, you stop hoping for a better future and you start living it.